Well, keeping in line with the UN declaring 2019 the year of Indigenous Languages, Heritage Day will on Tuesday echo the sentiment. The Pan-South African Language Board, established back in 1995, has championed the preservation of South African languages. Well, to talk more about the importance of protecting Indigenous languages is Ntombenhle Huluhulu, the SABC's acting senior manager for marketing and both communication. Thank you very much for joining us this evening on The Full View.
Well, thank you for having me.
Essentially, how far have we come in making inroads in the revitalization of appreciating, reserving and encompassing home languages?
Well, we have made some inroads, but you know, it's not an easy process because the repressing of indigenous languages goes back a while. You know, we still have a long way to ensure that our indigenous languages are afforded the same status as all other established languages. However, as PanSALB, through our national lexicography units, we develop dictionaries that assist learners, as well as, you know, just for general use, and ensuring that, you know, the languages are represented in the correct manner.
Now, in terms of representation, in the past 2 years, we've seen various indigenous culture groups and leaders take on government in wanting to be recognized in both print, both in Parliament. What are the inroads that we're making in terms of representation on that front?
Oh, okay. Actually, I think you will be referring to the Khoi, San and Nama languages. Yeah, with those ones, we are really just trying to develop the languages. We have established strategic relationships with strategic partners such as the University of Namibia. Currently, we're working on the spelling and orthography rules for the Nama language. So we are hoping that we will be launching it very soon.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we do know that last month or 2 months ago, we saw the launch in Northern Cape with regards to Nama being taught at 2 schools in the Northern Cape province. So take us through some of the challenges that we're actually seeing in the implementation of carrying this out, in writing books, the training of teachers, the qualifications and everything that goes into the back end of this.
Okay, you know, with these endangered indigenous languages, you know, you find that some of the people that actually belong to these communities cannot even speak the language, or, you know, there's no written material. So these are the things that we need to start from scratch. As I mentioned before, that the spelling and orthography rules will actually assist in the development of literature in languages such as the Nama one that we just developed
here. And you know, in terms of the challenges, you know, where do we draw the line between transformation and preservation? 2 schools had been vandalized just recently in Gauteng, as they had a name change from Afrikaans name changes to something more relevant, if one could put it in that way. Where does one then draw the line then between transformation and preservation? Specifically, let's pertain this then to Afrikaans.
Okay. You know, as PanSALB, our role is to promote multilingualism. And we promote multilingualism because we need to promote social cohesion. So whatever initiatives that are taken, they need to be inclusive of everyone. And this is why we, you know, I would say that vandalizing a school because you don't agree with what it is called, you know, it goes against the principles of our constitution. And it goes against what we stand for as PanSALB. We promote all the African languages. We promote, you know, all the indigenous languages, including those that are not on those that are not afforded the official status as yet.
Now, in terms of having those collaborations and being afforded official statuses, if we move away from what is necessarily being declared as indigenous languages, if we look at our languages that we already have, isiZulu, isiXhosa, Venda and whatnot, are we making enough inroads in the implementation of that in our schooling system, in being able to have those as subjects that one could study, in being able to go to university and being able to be taught in your home language before even getting to indigenous languages?
with regards to that, we really, really need to do. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. We have to be honest, we haven't really done much in terms of ensuring that these languages are viable career options for our youngsters. I don't know if you know this, but we conducted public hearings wherein we wanted to establish if state entities are actually implementing the prescripts of the use of official languages. And the report, the findings of the report were really not painting a good picture in terms of how far we are with our languages development. But however, PanSALB is working with the state entities to develop language policies that actually speak to developing the languages. We developed language policy guidelines to actually assist them to ensure that the Use of Official Languages Act is implemented fully.
And what has the response been like? What has the collaboration been like?
I would say that it's going well. It's going well. We are making inroads, and we also have a monitoring tool so that we can keep checking who is complying, who isn't.
And what will PanSALB be doing differently this year in terms of commemorating Heritage Day, in terms of communicating the importance of indigenous languages, the importance of home languages, and learning that and communicating that?
Oh, well, the declaration of 2019 as the International Year of Indigenous Languages has actually given us a great platform to shine a light on the plight of these languages that are actually endangered. We will form part of the heritage celebrations that will be happening in Northern Cape in Uppington on Tuesday, and also on the 30th of September we are going to Platfontein, and where we will be with the Khoi and San communities, in celebration of International Translation Day. So in fact, it's our way of trying to say, what, your languages, your culture, and your heritage matters, and we want to reassure them that their heritage is of importance, and we are doing our utmost best to ensure that it is preserved and that it is promoted.
And how is PanSALB doing that? How are they preserving? How are they promoting it? Is it being done through books? Is it being done through other means of literature? Are there different libraries? Have there been editions of e-books? Take us through that.
Okay, currently we are working on establishing an epicenter. It's going to be in Northern Cape, and we are hoping that whatever historic documents are there for the Khoi, Nama, and San languages, it's going to be one focal point where you can get all this information. It'll be an interactive center for the communities around the Northern Cape.
All right, and as we include language, I suppose sign language is also included in this. Yeah. What sort of implementations are we seeing around the preservation of sign language and the introduction, I suppose, of it in the Fourth Industrial Revolution?
Okay, well, with this sign language, we have actually made submissions to the Constitutional Review Committee, calling for South African Sign Language to be made official. And there are signs that are pointing to that coming to fruition before the end of the year. So on that front, it is positive. But we've also developed a South African Sign Language Charter, which after intensive consultation with the deaf community and their structures, is now in the final stages of gazetting for public comments. So we are hoping that we will be launching the charter during the first week of November.
Great. We thank you very much for joining us this evening and telling us a little more about PanSALB and what they are going to be doing as we commemorate Heritage